Meghan Markle posted a bizarre video on her social media. It is the cringiest, most
It's drawn a lot of attention to the controversies surrounding her kids.
Baby mama when I step out on the top. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, hit the baby mama.
There was supposed to be one video. Just one. A video that would shut everyone up forever. A hospital room, music playing, Meghan Markle dancing around with a visible baby bump. Smiling like this was the final mic drop moment. The message couldn't have been clearer if it tried. Look at me, look closely, I'm pregnant. End of discussion. Except that's not what happened. Instead of ending the rumors, that video cracked something wide open. It didn't silence people. It made them lean in closer. It made them rewind, zoom, analyze, and question everything they thought they knew. And now, out of nowhere, there's a woman who says she's done staying hidden. A woman who says while one person was smiling for cameras, she was the one actually carrying both children. Archie, Lily, both of them. This woman stayed silent for years. Not because she wanted to, but because silence was part of the deal. She says she was recruited quietly through a high-level agency most people don't even know exists. Not some website you Google. Not something you see advertised. This was discreet, controlled, and designed to leave no fingerprints. Once she agreed, her life, as she knew it, ended overnight. According to her, everything disappeared. Her routine, her freedom, her outside world. She says her days turned into nothing but medical appointments, monitor rest, and absolute isolation. And when she says isolation, she doesn't mean keeping a low profile. She means no phone calls, no visitors, no family, no friends. No stepping outside for fresh air. No normal life. Just silence, supervision, and instruction. Think about that for a second. Pregnancy is already overwhelming when you have support. Now imagine going through it completely alone. Your body changing. Your emotions spiraling. No one asking how you're feeling. No one celebrating milestones. No one telling you it's going to be okay. Just doctors, schedule, and rules. And the rules were clear from day one. Carry the pregnancies. Follow every instruction. Ask no questions, then disappear. No acknowledgement, no connection to the children, no role afterward. She says the expectation was simple. Once the babies were born, she would be erased. As if those months never happened, as if she never existed. What makes this even more unsettling is how calculated she says it all was. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't messy. This was precise. Every detail accounted for, according to her. This wasn't about cruelty. It was about control, about ensuring one very specific outcome while leaving no room for complications. She said everything was written down. Agreements, expectations, financial arrangements, but the real condition wasn't money. It was silence. Complete erasure. Once the babies were delivered, her part in the story ended. The narrative would move forward without her, and she would be left watching it unfold from wherever she was kept. And so she did exactly what she was told. She stayed quiet, she stayed hidden, she lived a life nobody could see while a completely different version of events played out in public. She followed the rules. She vanished. But silence only works when everyone agrees to protect it. And now something has shifted. Because after all this time, she's speaking. She's stepping forward with her timeline, her story, her claim that while one reality was happening behind closed doors, another was being carefully performed for the world. Two parallel lives, two timelines, one hidden, one on full display. While she says she was locked away dealing with nausea, exhaustion, and the physical toll of pregnancy, another woman was photographed, praised, admired, smiling, holding a bump, glowing, accepting congratulations. And that contrast is where the story starts to feel almost unbearable. One woman lived the physical reality, the sickness, the fatigue, the body changes, the discomfort, the fear. The other lived the public fantasy, cameras, headlines, admiration, applause. Imagine carrying a child in total silence, while watching someone else receive credit for the journey you're actually living. No baby shower, no excited phone calls, no family hugging you. Just quiet, control, and orders to stay invisible. And it wasn't like she could escape seeing it. According to her, Meghan's pregnancy coverage was everywhere. Magazine covers, news segments, social media, analysts breaking down outfits and bump sizes. The world obsessed with a narrative she says wasn't hers to live publicly. She says none of this was accidental. This wasn't about fairness. It wasn't about emotion. It was about image. A perfect pregnancy story. Smooth, effortless, no complications. No visible struggle. Exactly what the public expects. Every appearance had to look flawless, every angle considered. Every outfit chosen carefully. The bump had to be just right, not too big, not too small, exactly where it should be for that stage. Everything had to feel authentic, even if nothing behind the scenes actually was. So 2 realities ran side by side, one private and physical, one public and polished. And for years, nobody connected the dots. She says she understood the arrangement. One woman would carry the biological weight. The other would carry the public role. 2 jobs, 2 people, 1 story, and it worked until people started looking back. Because once the footage was reviewed chronologically, things started to feel off. Not dramatically wrong, just strange enough to make people pause. Sometimes the bump looked unusually large, sometimes oddly low, sometimes shaped differently depending on the outfit or angle, and then there were the movement moments. Instead of soft, natural shifts, there were sharp creases, folding, stiffness, the kind of thing that makes you rewind and squint. The size inconsistencies became impossible to ignore once appearances were compared side by side. She claims those weren't natural changes. She says professional prosthetics were used, not costumes, not amateur props. Custom-made pieces designed to look real under lights and cameras, molded for different stages, carefully planned for each appearance. And if you think about it, if you were trying to maintain a public pregnancy while someone else was actually carrying the child, that's exactly what you'd need. Not a pillow, not guesswork. Precision. Each event planned. Each outfit tested. Each angle controlled, but control only works until life interferes. Lighting changes. Unexpected movement. A wrong camera angle. And suddenly, what's meant to look natural doesn't hold up anymore. People started comparing screenshots. Zooming in, slowing footage down, asking questions that didn't have easy answers. Then came the hospital video. The one meant to end everything. A dancing man, music playing, a visible bump. The message was obvious. This is real. Stop questioning. But the timing ruined it. The video didn't come out during the pregnancy. It came out later, right when doubts were getting louder. And instead of reassuring people, it did the opposite. Because when someone tries to prove something after doubts exist, people look harder, not softer. The video felt staged. Clean lighting, careful framing, music chosen. Not spontaneous, not raw, produced. And then people ask the obvious question, why was this even necessary? Royal pregnancies don't need proof videos. Protocols already exist. Documentation, verification, that system has worked for generations. So why this? Then came the birth records. Her legal name wasn't listed, just a title. And titles don't give birth, people do. No one took responsibility. Palace sources blamed Meghan's side. Meghan's side blamed the palace. No explanation, just deflection. And then people noticed something else. Traditional confirmations were missing. No doctors on hospital steps. No immediate verification. All brushed off as privacy. But privacy doesn't usually mean altering records. And according to her, none of this was accidental. She says it was deliberate. Distance, blur, obscurity, and then the claims got heavier. He says Prince Harry knew. Not later. From the beginning. She claims he visited her. Knew she was carrying the children. She even says he wrote her a handwritten thank you letter after the births. And if that's true, this stops being about one person. It becomes a coordinated effort. Because these children's status isn't symbolic. It's based on birth, and that's why this story refuses to stay quiet. And right now, the loudest sound in this entire situation is silence. No denials. No explanations. Nothing. Well, she says she has documents, medical records, ultrasounds, agreements, and she's willing to do DNA testing. One side is speaking, the other is not. And silence in situations like this isn't neutral. It's pressure building. And that silence keeps getting heavier by the day because the longer nothing is said, the harder it is to believe there's a simple explanation waiting in the wing. This isn't some small misunderstanding. These are claims that cut straight through the center of a story that's been carefully protected for years. And yet, there's no rush to shut it down. No urgent denial. No, this is absolutely false, and here's why. Just nothing. What makes that even more unsettling is that this woman isn't speaking vaguely. She isn't hiding behind anonymous posts or half statements. She's saying she has paperwork, medical documentation, ultrasounds with dates, written agreements spelling out expectations, correspondence that shows coordination, and on top of all that, she's saying she's willing to do DNA testing. Not privately, not quietly, but in a way that could actually verify or disprove everything she's claiming. That's not how someone behaves if they're just chasing attention. That's not how someone talks if they expect the story to collapse the moment it's challenged. That's the posture of someone who believes the truth can be tested and survive. And that puts the other side in a corner, because when one person is offering verification and the other person is offering silence, people start asking why. Especially when the people staying quiet have never been shy about defending themselves before. They've responded to criticism. They've corrected narratives. They've released statements when they felt wronged. So why now? Why stay quiet when the claims go straight to the heart of their family story? Behind the scenes, according to whispers starting to leak out, there are conversations happening. Serious ones, not press releases. Not public-facing spin. The kind of conversations that happen when people are trying to figure out what happened. Next, if something gets confirmed that was never supposed to see daylight, because this isn't just about embarrassment. This isn't just about image. This touches documentation, lineage, and decisions that affect more than just two adults. And through all of this, the most uncomfortable part is the children. They didn't choose any of this. They didn't ask to be born into a situation where strangers would someday dissect the circumstances of their birth. They didn't consent to becoming the center of a storm created by adults. Yet here they are, living their lives, while questions swirl around them that should never have existed in the first place. For most families, how a child comes into the world is private, sacred, nobody else's business. But this family doesn't operate like most families. Titles, positions, and public records turn private moments into matters of public interest, whether anyone likes it or not. And when things don't line up the way they usually do, people notice. The woman at the center of these claims says she's done protecting a silence that cost her years of her life. She says she's done being invisible. Done watching a version of her story play out without her in it. She's stepping forward, knowing full well what it could cost her socially, legally, emotionally. And she's still doing it. Meanwhile, the narrative that's been presented for years suddenly feels fragile. Not because one person said something shocking, but because the response to it has been nothing. No closure. No reassurance. Just this strange pause where everyone seems to be waiting for the next move. And pauses like this don't last forever. Because silence isn't a solution. It's a delay. And delays only make the eventual impact stronger. Either someone responds and explains everything clearly, or the silence itself becomes the answer people remember. The moment when a story that had been polished, rehearsed, and protected for years finally ran out of room to hide, if the documents exist. If the testing happens. If the claims hold up even partially, this won't be remembered as gossip. It'll be remembered as the moment when a carefully managed image cracked under the weight of one person refusing to stay quiet anymore. Right now, we're sitting in that in-between space. One side speaking louder every day, the other saying nothing at all. And history shows that when that happens, something always gives. It has to. Because stories built on silence only survive as long as everyone agrees to keep quiet. And that agreement, by the sound of it, is already broken.